Hello everyone, welcome back to our live session of Let's Talk Design. I just want all the people who are active right now to just let me know if I'm audible or not because I would like to just check my connections as of now. Uh, if someone could just let me know if I'm audible, that would be really helpful. Yeah, we have another special guest with us today who's going to join us really soon. I hope you all are doing fine and you all are doing great. I've joined the session after a really long time, so just connecting with all of you once again. And I'm going to soon invite our special guest. Meanwhile, I hope everyone is doing great back to work from this pollution. It's just a lot of pollution these days. I'm just connecting to our guest, and we'll be taking all the questions later on after the session. So I hope all of you are ready with all the questions. And we'll be talking about using marble to create minimalistic and impactful design. And here we have our special guest. We have Kavya Sheth on board with us. We welcome you on Let's Talk Design.
Hi, Sana. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and it's a pleasure to have this
Great,
chat with you. I'm really
great,
looking forward to our conversation.
great. I'm quickly going to introduce you to the entire audience who's listening to us. Studio Roo was founded in 2018 by Kavya Sheth, who's right here with us right now. And she specializes in creating a soulful and meaningful spaces. She has also pursued her master's in interior design from Milan. They also believe in creating the space which not only has a soul but also talks about passion. Do let me know if I've missed out on something.
Mm, You've covered it
Great.
perfectly.
Great. So without wasting time, let's talk about using marble to create minimalistic and impactful design. I believe you've used a lot of marble and stone techniques in your projects, right? And marble has a reputation from being a bold stone with prominent texture. So how can you use these marble designs for homes who want to be a more minimalistic space?
Sure. Firstly, like you rightly said, marble is a bold stone.
Yeah.
It has a history and a reputation of being bold, majestic, and very opulent. It also dates back thousands of years from the Egyptian and Mesopotamian era, where people used it in art, architecture, and design.
Correct.
But through
Yeah.
the years, designers today have moved away from that design aesthetic. So,
Hmm.
what we're focusing now is on using marble in a very subtle and refined manner, and it's not very hard to do. For a space that is more minimalistic, the first and foremost rule of thumb is less is more. So it's very important when picking a marble that you understand the grains of the marble and the
Correct.
scale of those
Yeah.
grains.
Yeah.
For us, when we use marble across the shell of a home, we try and determine what the overall color palette of the space is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using a lot of whites in your space, then it's important that the rest of the space has a lot more woody tones that add warmth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you're experimenting with deeper tones of grays or blacks, then you can have fun with softer and more neutral tones in the furniture and
Correct.
furnishing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think that
another,
balances out also a lot, the entire space.
Absolutely. It ties it
Yeah,
together and makes the whole space a lot more harmonious.
yeah, yeah. And when we talk about urban homes where, we have a very specific or a limited area, so do you think having a single central marble or a centerpiece or maybe like a tiled area is an ideal way to make it look luxurious, or there are any other way also?
Sorry, Sana, I think I lost you there for a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Should I repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, in urban homes, we do have a lot of limited area and there's specifications to everything. Correct. So, do you think that having a single central marble, which is like a centerpiece or a tiled area, is that an ideal way to make the house look luxurious, or are there any more ways to it?
So for us, between marble and tile, which is an endless conversation,
Yeah.
marble takes the cake. If you
Okay.
are,
It
if
it
you are,
always, I do believe, always.
yeah, it just adds the right hint of luxury that you're looking at in creating this space. So our suggestion would be to get into the tinier details, especially if it's a small space, to keep the use of marble slightly more monolithic, and to
Hmm.
add understated details to it. So focus on book matching the marble, whether it works for the specific marble you've chosen or not. To add details
Right.
in lighting, especially if you're playing with the floor, a technique that we particularly love is embedding lights into the floor.
Oh, that's
And to
interesting.
focus on edge, yeah, to focus on edge
Hmm.
joinery details. It can
Okay.
also be combined with different kinds of stones or wood,
Hmm.
maybe just the borders
Right.
to give it
Right.
that little
Right.
uplift.
Right. So do you also experiment with different material, like you rightly said right now, maybe the edges are through wood. So do you also experiment with other materials, or it is just wood?
No, we experiment with other materials as well. We've done spaces where marble meets a water body. So there are mosaic tiles either in the water body, or if marble is in the foyer and the rest of the space,
Hmm.
there are patterned tiles or cement tiles in certain areas.
Okay.
So it really depends on the design language that you're going for the rest of the space.
And how about, have you tried experimenting the marble or stone in a furniture piece in any of your projects?
Yes. So something that we're trying to do deliberately in all our spaces is really try and reuse a lot of material that otherwise goes to waste.
Correct.
And this
Yeah.
happens a lot across all sites.
Hmm.
So a terrific way of doing this is any marble that is left over is then used on side tables, on dressing tables,
Yeah.
on coffee tables or nesting tables, platforms, just simple shelving on the wall, and the room immediately gets an uplift.
Correct, correct. I mean, I have personally seen, like people used to use these marbles just on countertops or maybe centerpieces. But over the last 1 or 2 years, there's such a drastic shift in the industry, and there are actually furniture pieces like even chairs or beautiful art pieces crafted out of marble. And it's such a nice pleasure to see that there's so much experimentation happening with stones, which earlier was not happening at all.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And these could even be minor afterthoughts, Sana. If there is
Yeah.
a bench coming in a particular space or you want to highlight art of some form, in one of our projects now, we're looking at using marble as the pedestal on which a sculpture sits.
Oh, nice. That's
So
interesting again. Yeah. No, no, I totally agree. There's, I think, a lot one can do with it if uh, I would say the conceptualization or the technique, everything is right in place. You could do so much with it. Okay, coming back to the session now. When like we were talking about just countertops and furniture. So one more question. They are becoming very common these days, and homes are looking to have more of these subtle luxury aesthetics also. So what are your, as an expert, views on it in terms of, do people should only restrict themselves to marble countertops and furnitures, or try and experiment like you were saying, you've figured out a pedestrian. So should people, like usually common man don't want to experiment with all of these things. Do you recommend that they should, because they look aesthetically good as well?
100%. I think gone are the times when marble was just used as flooring or in a
Hmm.
bathroom. Especially when we're designing bathroom spaces now, we like to wrap our window jambs in marble. We like to use marble on vanity countertops.
Yeah.
We like to experiment with marble not just on furniture but also on wall paneling.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where we see some of these bolder patterned marbles.
Correct. Yeah.
At the same time, I think a staircase, especially if you have an internal staircase, is a fantastic object to kind of
Object.
experiment with
Correct.
marble.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to minimalistic design, everyone has a lot of different ideas to it. What are some of the aspects that you would like to use in one of your dream project with marble-based minimalistic design?
So marble is actually a very a material that's very dear to my heart. I've always wanted to craft objects in marble. I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet. I love what Rushat Shroff has been doing with marble,
Hmm.
and the craftsmanship he's able to bring to minimalistic and modern marble lights.
Yeah.
If I were to design such a space, I think I lean more towards the warmer tones of marble. So for
Okay.
me,
Okay.
something I've been trying to experiment is marble on the floor, but also marble door jambs.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Also wrapping, yeah, just the door frames of the jambs in marble, wrapping passageways in marble or arched doors in marble.
Very
I want to
interesting.
create sculptural pieces, maybe lights, sconces, table lamps,
Yeah. Yeah.
lots of sculptural pieces or consoles in marble.
Lovely, lovely. I've said it, I think, in the previous couple of sessions also. I want to try marble ceiling. That's
Yeah,
very different. Yeah. I
yeah,
think I saw it
absolutely.
somewhere and it just, I felt like I do want to try it somewhere down the line. I don't know when, but sometime. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like keep everything natural, right? But just have marble on the ceiling because just accentuates the entire space, that entire look. Yes.
completely agree with you.
Yes. And do you think marble can also be used in a small but impactful way to create the home aesthetics? Like if you could share some tips for the people who are hearing us right now.
Sure. So an impactful or a small space that we see in majority of the homes we do are foyer spaces. So I think
Hmm.
it's really interesting to try and use a bold marble there or mix two, three different tones of marble in such spaces. Other avenues where you can use marble could be dados or countertops of
Hmm.
butler
Yeah.
pantries, dry kitchens. And to add, like I said, certain objects in themselves can be detailed in marble. So if you're doing a his and her dresser in certain luxurious
Yeah.
homes, marble can be explored for objects like that.
Oh, I think the his and her idea was again very interesting. What are some materials that you would recommend pairing with marble, like we spoke earlier, but in a very minimalistic manner?
So I think for me it would be a combination of wood, perhaps, with marble, like I
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, but also a lot of metals in limited quantities, perhaps. It would be interesting to see a combination of brass or copper or patina with marble. Also maybe tile or mosaic of some form.
Okay. Okay.
What could also be interesting is either glass, it'll have to
Hmm.
be done tastefully,
Yeah.
but also other natural stones. So exploring different finishes of natural stones and bringing them together.
Right. Right. Do you also feel that textures and patterns also matter when you're choosing certain marble for any of your project?
Absolutely. I think textures and patterns matter tremendously. But also in certain spaces that we're creating, more than just the patterns, it's identifying the right veins of the marble.
Yeah.
Certain marbles that you see in the market, either because of their quality, have lots of clouds on them. So marble
Hmm.
is one such thing that cannot be chosen off of a catalog. It's very important to see the lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
the slab, if not the slab, at least the lot before you pick it. But I do think that not just countertops, but we've also started making a lot of our sinks in marble. So if you can see this, for example, this is a washroom we've done where the
Oh,
bathroom
that's
is entirely in
interesting.
marble and we've
Yeah. Yeah.
created the basin fully in marble. So lots of really interesting details have gone
Hmm.
into the waste, the drainage of the marble. Also creating sinks in marble, for example, or sinks in natural stone, like blocks of stone, chiseling them out. So this is another very favorite project where you
Oh,
can see the whole
that's lovely.
basin
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. It's quite interesting.
in natural
Would you
stone.
would you want to show the pedestal that you were talking about to the audience
Yeah, sure.
if you have it? Oh,
Uh,
that's nice.
that's for the pedestal of the sculpture I do not have. Um,
That's okay. That's
I think
okay.
we
We
can.
can we
So
can look
yeah.
at your feed.
Yeah.
That's
So these are
interesting.
just some images I pulled out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a very, very versatile material, and there are
Right,
limitless
right.
options in how you can play with it.
Totally agree. So, as an expert, if you have to choose a marble which is like your go-to marble, what would that be? If you cannot find anything and you feel, okay, this is always my go-to marble, which one would
Um,
that be?
for me, it's always been the grays. There's a specific
Mm-hmm.
marble, the Dalmata gray that we've used in
Okay,
multiple
okay,
projects.
okay.
Um, or a very timeless, like a Burberry beige. Um,
Oh, that's a very
maybe
pretty shade. Yeah.
if not, yeah, the Satvario. I think it's very, very timeless. So depending on
Yeah,
where you're
sapphire
using
is
it,
definitely timeless. Yeah. That's
stunning. Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. Okay, one last thing before we log off. What would be one design tip for anyone using stone in their designs or their project?
If you are using stone and you're new to the material, do not fear experimenting with it because, like I said, it's so versatile.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Speak to your layer, push boundaries in execution. Like you rightly brought up, we'd love to try marble on the ceiling, right? And
Haha,
there's
yeah,
a limit here. So have lots of conversations on site, create samples of
correct.
everything you need to create, and then have it executed. So
I
yeah,
think
my
you
tip
rightly
would
said.
be
Yeah. This is like a go-to tip, and this can never go wrong. Lovely, lovely. I'll just see if there are any questions or guys, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I think Kavya is all set to answer all your questions. But you gave really interesting, very nice ideas today, and some of the tips were also quite insightful. I'm sure all the people who are listening today, they must have got amazing ideas.
Thank you, Sana. I really enjoyed our conversation too.
It was a quick, informal session, which was really nice. And yes, we have a question from Praveen. Which one's better, Indian marble or Italian marble, and what is the difference?
Okay. I think it's like the categories are very interesting that it's Indian and Italian. The main difference is, of course, where they're sourced from. But for us, what's most important is how they're treated, right? The thickness of the marble
Right.
is very important. This is regardless of whether it's Indian or Italian, whether
Hmm.
it has a mesh at the back, what are the kind of coatings that it has come with.
Right.
So the biggest difference between the two is where they come from. But if you were to pick between the two, I would suggest you get into the integrity details of it and focus on the specifications that it comes with.
Right. I hope that answers your question. There's one more question. Can you talk about your small scale interiors where you design? Uh, where you design just a single room, how would you also, this is, they're asking, how would you charge your clients? I think you could take this question directly with Kavya on her DM. You could reach out to her directly. There's another question from Hina Gupta where she's asking which material have been used on the pedestal sink that you used, which was really pretty, the one that you
It's
showed.
That's granite.
Okay. Hina, that's granite. There's one more question. Palak wanted to know whom did you mention? I think she mentioned the architect Rushad Shroff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. There are any more questions. Great. So, guys, if you have any more questions, we'll be uploading this video on our feed. You could either comment on the post that we will post, or you could directly DM Kavya. I'm sure she will answer all your questions there. Thank you, Kavya, for having a quick informal chit chat session with me. It was lovely having you here on Let's Talk Design.
Thanks so much, Sana. It was lovely being here as well. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.